sushi is what you have when you want to eat 100 of something.
So
You know what I feel like doing today? Eating 100 of something.
Yeah.
What am
Gotta
I?
be sushi.
Or dumplings.
I feel a song coming on, guys.
What could you eat 100 of? Sushi! Sushi! Writes itself.
Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 8 of 30 Minute Call, proudly presented by the Canberra Theatre Centre and produced on the lands of the Ngunnawal Nation. We pay our respects to the traditional custodians of this land and to their elders past, present and emerging. I'm Joe Gleeson and we have the Beanies, all three of them with us this episode. Now, these guys specialise in children's entertainment. They've been featured in CTC at Home, our live streaming offering. They've been doing their own live streams during the COVID sort of lockdown period. They have an awesome podcast as well. They've got some great songs, some great video clips, and today we have a chat about all the work that they've put into this great product called the Beanies. This is also the first time that I've had my guests on video conferencing, so it was actually nice to be able to see their smiling faces too. So let's get straight into it. Let's do it. Laura, Mim, and Michael, this is your 30-minute call. I can see them. This is the first time I've been able to see my guests. Unfortunately, you can't, but hey, you know, you can live vicariously through me. I do have Laura, Michael, and Mim from the Beanies.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Oh no! Thanks for joining us on our little podcast. It's great to be able to have the time while we don't have a million things going on at the theatre. It's usually pretty crazy to be able to spend this time getting to know the people that come in and out of the venue a bit more and celebrate them, celebrate these wonderful people in the arts, including of course the very important category that is children's entertainment. Super important. So hey, if people have come across you guys for the first time, how do you describe yourselves in sort of like a sentence?
Well, the Beanies are a musical adventure for children with big imaginations is our little tagline.
Nice.
And we basically make really silly but also educational music and stories and lessons for kids aged 3 to 8 years old. And we do that on many different mediums. We do it on YouTube, in podcasting, in live shows, and now on live streams as well in this strange time.
Yeah. Because it's, you can keep yourself really, really busy with all of the different platforms that you guys can be on. Do you have to limit that time for yourselves and go, okay, you know what? I've spent like 15 hours on Instagram and an hour, all these hours on a podcast and making video and stuff. Is there a point in the day where you have to go, okay, let's just stop and give myself a little bit of downtime now?
Absolutely. We definitely had to kind of pick a hero of our content a couple of years ago when we decided to make it, because you're right, because kids' content, they can consume it in so many different ways and they need to consume it in so many different ways. If you ever have a kid around, they're like, give me the YouTube, give me the podcast, give me the music. I want to be entertained all the time.
Yeah.
So, we definitely picked podcasting a couple of years ago as our main focus, and that's worked out really well for us. Kids podcasting wasn't really a huge market a couple of years ago, so we were one of those early adapters, and it's worked out quite well.
Because how long has the podcast been going for now?
4 years. So it was late 2016 we started writing it, and then early 2017 it got released with Mamma Mia, the first season.
And since then, we've been with Kindling Kids Radio, and now we're with Podcast One, which we're very excited about because that's Hamish and Andy's distributor. So we feel like we've made it.
That's great. That's awesome. And so what sort of content can people expect to find on the podcast?
Well, our episode structure, we figured out a while ago, and we've kind of stuck to that because it starts off with a story, and then we go from our story to we call it a brain break, or it's like a meditative section where we
great.
really excite the inner mind of our listener and say, imagine a zoo. How big is it? What animals are in it? What does it smell like? And it's much slower. Then we have our song, and then after that we have a section with a character called Professor Know-It-All who comes in and answers our questions. And so there's a bit of an educational section as well.
Yeah, nice. You've got it all.
Takes us a while to make a season of podcasts because we've got to write an album first.
Yeah, so they're only 15 minutes long each episode. We tried to keep them short so kids could stay engaged through the whole thing. And also it's kind of the average length of a car ride for most parents.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, like Michael said, even though they're so short, it takes us a long time to make them.
Yeah, and you guys make them all yourselves?
Yeah.
Wow.
Make them all
Yeah,
ourselves.
and we have the help of the lovely James Court, who we call our music wizard. He's also from Canberra, actually.
Yeah.
And he helps us with the composing of the music and the writing of the music and the lyrics. And he really is a music wizard. He magics everything into songs for us.
Oh, that's so cool.
The sort of work he does is so out of the world to us. We just deem it as magic, and that's the only explanation for it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, he basically does the job of an entire production studio and composes and is just, phenomenal.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
He's a wizard.
Nice having that kind of person around. That's so good.
Absolutely. So glad I made him be my friend when we were 12.
Oh, yeah.
Kept him close.
You have no choice.
This one's a clever one. Keep him close.
I had a kid like that. You might have been similar to a kid that I had the first day at my new school in Canberra, because I moved to Canberra in 97 and I was in year 8, and I remember the first kid that came up to me and said, "Hi, will you be my friend?" So I imagine, Laura, you were that kid. You're that one that was just going, "Hey."
Oh my God, I'm still that kid.
Yeah.
That's how I make
She really
friends
is.
as an adult.
I haven't had to make a friend myself in so long, because Laura's just like, here's our new friend. And I'm like, oh, great.
The method still works. Like, it's a true method that still works. You just walk up to people and be like, "Hi, we're friends now." All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And most adults would be probably pretty accepting of that, because it's hard to make friends when you're an adult. It's cool when you're a kid that you can just go, "Hey, we've been playing for like 70 or 80 seconds at the playground and now we're friends."
Yeah.
Absolutely. Maybe that's just the fact that we spend a lot of time in our kind of childlike mentality, but I absolutely still make friends like that. It works. Can recommend.
Good on you.
Yeah.
That's great. Do you find that, doing this stuff, and maybe it's just ingrained in you already and that's why you're doing it, but do you find that you become more childlike and start trying to enjoy those simple things because you are surrounding yourself in child sort of content?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's probably a mixture of both, is that the three of us already have quite childlike senses of humor and kind of mentalities, and we all write the same kind of silly things and think the same kind of silly things are funny. And then, it definitely fosters a childlike view on the world, I guess, when you're thinking about this stuff all the time. And we take it very seriously. Like, we take kids' entertainment very seriously, so we think about it a lot.
Yeah.
And so it does. It makes you view the world in a different way, for sure.
I think the three of us being stage actors and also doing a lot of children's entertainment, we're just playful people, and being around playful people lets you do silly characters, and it's that yes and mentality of somebody doing a character and then somebody else jumping in, adding on top of it, and that playfulness, even though like people call it like a childlike sort of thing, I think that really helps with creating this sort of stuff, because you're around supportive people that will play with you.
I'm a dad of 3 little ones, and sometimes being able to see the world through their eyes, like they see things that you would walk past 100 times and not stop to appreciate and look at and get down on all fours and explore. And being around that is really wonderful sometimes. If you can take the time to stop and go, "Oh my God, how cool is a clover leaf?" Anything like that is really great. If you can have that as part of your world, I think is really special.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's probably been like the only good thing to come out of COVID is having time to do those things now and having time to look at things and just be like, oh, I'm going to sit out in this park now and I've got plenty of time to do that.
Yeah, and smell the smells and feel the things under your hands and your feet. And it's great, isn't it? You mentioned briefly that one of your connections is from Canberra, but also Mim and Laura, you guys have got that Canberra connection as well. Is it true that you two spent a bit of time working at the Canberra Theatre Centre as well?
We did.
We did.
I just loved it.
The person's rite of passage.
Oh, absolutely.
Everyone must work at least 3 shifts at the Canberra Theatre to be deemed a Canberra Theatre person.
But it was the best job. Well, I got to be an usher while I was there, and my favourite part was just sitting in the stairwell and watching the shows, and not actually really doing my job at all. Yeah, just watching
completely.
That kind of was your job
as an usher as well. Yeah, as an usher, and it was my 2nd or 3rd job or something while I was at uni, and so I was like, yeah, this is going to be the best job ever. And they're like, oh, we'd love to promote you to supervisor. And I was like, oh, please don't. I want to watch the shows. I'm only really here to watch the shows. Best job ever.
So recently, of course, we had you guys in to be a part of our CTC at Home, which is our live online streaming product. Was that kind of strange for you guys to be up on the stage? Was that the first time you'd actually performed on that stage?
I've definitely performed on that stage in an amateur capacity and at dance festivals and Rockestead Fest, growing up in Canberra. So I knew backstage pretty well, but it is kind of cool to go back as an established performer and as like, this is my job now. It feels very different. And it was really exciting to like see the big stage and see all the chairs in the auditorium and have all the tech people helping you. It was really, really cool.
And Michael, you say that you're all sort of in that performance space outside of, even if you weren't doing kids' entertainment, you would be a performer as well anyway? You'd be up on stage?
Yeah. I performed on that same stage last year in Possum Magic for Monkey Bar.
Oh, yes.
Which was really awesome. And that's what I do outside of that's my job. That's what I write down on the forms when people ask me what I do. So, but I guess that's why COVID has been pretty tough. But no, that's the aim. I do other little bits and pieces. I've got like a pretty wide range of skills, which has really helped out the Beanies. But yeah, I did a big tour last year, and that's how Mim and I met. We were performing in schools.
Yeah, right. Because you also double as sort of the tech guy of the group as well, is that right?
Yeah. Because I studied digital media at university, which was like this umbrella course, which taught me a bit of sound engineering and a bit of video work and a bit of photography and a little bit of everything done in there, which has been really helpful for the Beanies because, when the lockdowns happened, we were deciding to get into live streams, and we can make these decisions of like, okay, let's start doing live streams, and I've got this foundation where I can jump off to head in a certain direction and just learn more about it because I've already got a little bit of education in it. So that's been really handy.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually one of the common misconceptions about children's performers is often when you watch something like this, you just assume that the performers like rock up on the day and put on their costume and do a little warm up and off they go. But so many children's performers, and us included, we do literally everything ourselves. So we run the entire business. We do the marketing, we do the editing. Well, Michael does the editing. We do all the PR, we do the social media, we do all the invoicing, and that's probably the really good thing about all of us being actors is we've kind of acquired all of these other skills and have been able to put them together in our little Beanie team.
Because you've all got these great backgrounds that form this great little team. Because Mim, you were a publicist at Sydney Opera House as well, right?
I was, for the kids and family shows for about 2 years, and I loved it. But I was always quite jealous of everyone up on stage getting to do the bit that I really wanted to be doing.
That's what I really want to be. Yeah, cool. But yeah, I mean, how amazing that you're able to put those skills that you've learnt into practice now and, be able to...
And seeing everything from the back end really helps too, like being able to talk to producers and knowing exactly what they're looking for when they're selecting a show and trying to fill a whole program and making sure they're covering all different kinds of age groups and different kinds of genres. So now I know when we approach people and say, this is our show, these are the boxes they want to check off in their list of programming, and make sure that we really explain the show in a clear and business-like way as well, like making sure that they understand that we come with an audience as well as a really good show.
That's why it's kind of interesting doing the live stream at the Canberra Centre, because all of our live streams we've been doing ourselves, and then we got to go onto the stage with you guys, and there was a whole team there, and it was so huge, and all we had to do was perform.
It was great.
And that's awesome.
You wouldn't have known yourselves. I mean, you had lighting guys, you had sound guys, you had camera operators, you had a set. It was, it would have been the best thing ever.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought that, we just have to turn up and perform.
You're the talent now, guys. You're the talent. Laura, tell me about glitter bomb parties. This is another little thing that you run as well.
Yeah, so I guess in my skill set is the businessy side of things.
Oh, right, okay.
Making sure we're making money and, visible on all the places we need to be visible and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I got a lot of practice. Sorry, there's a bug in my room. I got a lot of practice, running a kids' party business called Glitter Bomb Parties, and that runs out of Canberra and Sydney, so I'm back in Canberra quite a lot. Bit tricky during COVID. No one wants to gather and share pass the parcel or touch all the same things. So, yeah, but it has given me a very good foundation and learning, like a lot of business skills are very transferable between lots of businesses. So having a good foundation of that's been super helpful.
Yeah, cool.
So if you've been to a kids' party in Canberra and seen Elsa there, it's probably Laura Beanie in disguise.
Aha.
Elsa and I are very good friends.
So is that what goes on at a glitter bomb party? They get a visit from Elsa and just a whole bunch of glitter?
Pretty much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of glitter. So we do lots of characters, and there's lots of singing and dancing and games and prizes and glitter and face painting and all the fun, happy things.
Very cool. One thing that, going back to you guys doing the live stream with us, one thing that a lot of the crew that were there at the day mentioned to us said that, after the cameras were off and everything was sort of switched off, they did mention that you guys don't actually change that much between when the cameras are on and when the cameras were off. I mean, these guys they're just like that. They're just that excited to be alive.
Oh gosh, that's terrible.
Oh my gosh, excited to be alive. I want that on my tombstone. That's so correct.
On your tombstone, that's so ironic.
Okay, maybe not on my tombstone.
Get it on a t-shirt.
Yeah, on a t-shirt. Just excited to be alive. Correct.
Yeah. The trick is to never play a character ever.
That's right. If you're yourself, you never have to switch on.
Yeah. Well, that is something we've discussed a bit, actually, that our Beanie personalities are just ourselves, but with the volume turned all the way up.
Yeah.
So if you turn us up to 120%, that's us as Beanies. So
awesome.
It is very much what you see is what you get with our Beanie personalities.
It does make it very strange because Beanies are so much our personalities. It does make it kind of strange when we've got some like super fans that have listened to every episode 100 times. Will deliver you a very strange fact about your personality and you're like, oh, you are correct. Child, you're very observant. There was one time we did a video for it was called Quarantunes, and it was a song about being in quarantine.
Yep.
And I talk a lot about my dog Louie. And we haven't ever really like shown photos of Louie or anything like that. He's never really been featured in anything, but we do talk about him a lot in the podcast. And there's
He's got his own story and his own song.
Yes, we probably do talk about him too much, to be totally fair.
But that's also accurate to your personality.
Exactly. exactly. And there was a photo of him on the wall in the video, the music video, because we filmed it at home, obviously being in quarantine and everything. And a kid sent us a message being like, "Is that a photo of King Louis on the wall?" And we were like, "You tiny, tiny stalker."
They love
You
you.
call him a stalker? You're watching our videos.
Good on him. Thank you very much to that little beanie
Yeah,
man.
good on him.
That's fantastic.
But that also has really been helpful for us in writing things. So we write all the stories and the podcast separately and then come together to edit them. So it is kind of funny when Michael or Laura bring a podcast script and then it has things written in there that you would actually say in real life. And you're like, oh, that's very accurate.
Yeah.
You know me very well.
Write what you know.
Yeah, nice. So does that make it easier for you guys, if you're in public and you do have a little Beanie fan coming up, you don't have to worry about being on your best behaviour if you guys are just always like this? Or, you're always thinking like, okay, I can't, yell at the dude who's giving me a parking ticket right now because I have to be in sort of Beanie nice person mode.
Yeah, that is a really good... we didn't plan it, but that's a great point.
What do the Beanies do when they receive a parking fine?
I usually try and
Throw
talk my
glitter
way
at
out
them.
of it.
Throw glitter at them,
Yeah.
talk your way out of
That's
it?
a very
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine would be write a very long letter about why I should not have got the parking ticket
Uh-huh.
and just continue writing letters until they give up would be the Mimbeanie strategy.
So 4 albums down, guys. That's a lot. That's a lot of work. Albums are a big deal. It's huge. And of course, another thing to be proud of, ARIA nominated as well. How did that feel?
Surprising.
Surreal. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty mind-blowing, especially considering we recorded that album under a blanket in my lounge room.
Yeah.
It was very opposite ends of the spectrum.
Best.
It did feel like a bit of it was just very humbling to think that something that we recorded under a blanket could be at the Arias. And we pretty much spent the whole time at the Arias being like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it was so strange to be at the Arias because it's something that you've heard of from a really long time as a kid and you've seen it on TV and there's all these famous people there. Like we walked in behind the Veronicas and we were like, oh, we're with the actual people who do music. And it was very surprising and strange. We were pretty much giggling and giddy the whole time.
And who invited the Beanies to what after party?
I don't think we went to the actual after party. Did we?
No, we did.
What did we do?
We went to the,
we went to the
official
official
one,
after
but
party.
There's the
okay.
cool people's after party, like the Sony after party, which
But we
The
weren't
Sony
signed
one,
with
yeah.
AB. Yeah, we weren't signed with ABC Kids then, so we didn't get to go to it. So we just went to the normal after party.
Nice.
But it was great. We had a great
Which was
time.
still amazing. There was so much food there. Like we were just blown away. We were just blown away by walking up to the bar or to like the food areas and being like, it was all free. So we were just like, so I could take this? Yeah. And Laura's
brought a Tupperware
boyfriend.
container.
Yeah. Laura's boyfriend Mick was there as well. So here's like 2 hungry boys that have been like didn't really have any dinner, and we were just kind of raiding this food area, being like, yes, more please, more. That was probably the highlight for me.
pick the independent artist from a mile away.
Yeah.
They're poor
You guys
and
got
hungry.
takeaway containers or like?
That's the best. So highlights from the
The weird
Arias.
thing about the Arias is you show up at like 4:00 in the afternoon to walk the red carpet, which we accidentally veered ourselves off because we didn't know where it was.
Aww.
And so we didn't actually walk the actual red carpet bit because we were like, oh, look, there's our photo. Let's go look at it. And we got lost. Yeah, you show up at like 4:00 and then it goes really late and there's no food. You're just sitting in there waiting for your segment and then the whole thing wraps up and you're starving. So good on you for raiding that table, Michael.
Yeah.
It's good. I missed it.
I was a hungry boy.
Food at the
And
after
the food they
party.
did offer was sushi. Like, that's not a filling food.
No, you need to have about 1,000 sushis.
Yeah, sushi is what you have when you want to eat 100 of something.
So
You know what I feel like doing today? Eating 100 of something.
Yeah.
What am
Gotta
I?
be sushi.
It's going to be sushi. Or dumplings.
I feel a song coming on, guys.
What could you eat 100 of? Sushi! Sushi!
Writes itself.
All right, Arias, here we come again. The other thing, of course, that you guys have been keeping yourselves busy with, you haven't just been doing live streamed social content with us. You guys have been doing them weekly. You actually did one last week, I hear, with the Mildura Rural City Council. What was that all about? What was going on there?
Well, we were meant to go out and visit Mildura in March. We were going to do a big 11-hour road trip and do 3 or 4 shows out there. So we were really excited for that. And unfortunately, it had to get cancelled because of COVID. So they've postponed it to when we can do it at some point. We don't know when. So we just reached out to them and said, oh, well, now that we can't come out to you, would you be interested in doing a live stream instead? We've been doing heaps of them and they're really good for boosting your social media stats and things like that.
Yeah,
and they were super keen. So we jumped on it. And I think they're going to do some more. I'm not sure if we're allowed to say that.
But yeah, later in the year they're going to do. Yeah, they've got some funding to do some more, which is really exciting because they've also, councils have a lot of community initiative deliverables and things that's really hard for them to reach at the moment. So yeah, as best as we can help with that and keep a community engaged, particularly those rural, so hard to say, Mildura Rural City Council, it's hard for them to keep engaged when they're isolated already. They're on the border of New South Wales. Like, parents in those kinds of areas are really looking for a bit of entertainment and relief and something to give the kids on a Saturday morning. So any way we can help.
Good on you. That's great. I'm sure they loved having you guys out there. So we heard a little bit of how you guys met, but I'd love to hear the Beanies story. How did the Avengers assemble? How did it work?
That's a great line. I'm going to use that. How did the Avengers assemble? The Beanie Avengers. Well, it all started with me a little bit because I had auditioned for a couple of other children's groups. There was recently a recast of High Five and the casting of Splash Dance, which you might have seen for a little bit on ABC Kids. I'm not sure if they're still operating, actually.
Yeah, right.
And I got quite close, like final 2, final 3 kind of audition room for those, and got really excited and called Laura and was like, I'm going to be in High Five. And then I had to call her the next day and be like, I didn't get it. I'm so sad. And Laura, being the very ever positive and great friend that she is, was like, doesn't matter. You're fantastic. Let's just start our own band, you and me. And I was like, nah, we can't do that. Don't be silly. And she was like, yes, we can. And very, very positive. And so we just started writing songs. Like we got a jar. Do you remember this, Laura?
Yeah, we were brainstorming and we got a jar and just wrote down all the funny words we could think of, put them all in a jar, and then just like pulled them out at random and tried to like smush them together. So that's how we got things like Silly Dizzy Dance and Zigzag Stomp and lots of different Raining Jelly Beans, I'm pretty sure, came out of that jar as well. Yeah. And then we just went and wrote some poems, took it to the music wizard. Mim was like, oh, well, these poems are fun and we've got some ideas, but like neither of us really play instruments enough to be able to put this into something cohesive. So I was like, oh, I know just the wizard for this. And met up with James and pretty quickly decided we needed someone to balance Mim and I out because we're kind of two halves of a whole idiot sometimes. So we definitely have a very similar personalities. So then we went and got a double idiot, which...
Oh, yeah. Perfect. Michael's face right now.
Oh, that was a joke, Michael. I love you. Just
and that's where I came in.
We really wanted a boy in the group because we wanted to have just that extra layer to harmonies and things like that. And we also just wanted a bit of a bigger group. We thought more than 2 would be exciting for like dance choreography and things like that. And then I knew Michael very well from doing Brainstorm productions together. So we'd toured a play around Australia. We weren't in the same play, but when all the actors ended up in the same cities, they'd often all grab dinner together and hang out. And when we did that, I met Michael. And I don't think he and I spoke to any of the other actors. We just were like, and like talked to each other the whole time.
Cool.
And then I was like, you're funny. Come join my band.
What did you think,
we
Michael?
Just kind of did the, hey?
What did you think, Michael, when Mim said, all right, come and join this crazy band of two?
I thought it was a great idea. Like, why not? I'm very, like, my attitude towards new projects is, like, give it a go, at least, you know, and because I'd hung out with Mim a little bit, but I didn't know Laura yet, and I didn't know James yet either. So at the start, it was kind of like, yeah, sure, let's go, like, you know, meet these girls and James and see what they want to create. And I think after several years of performing in children's theatre, I had got my own attitudes about what I enjoy about children's entertainment and would like to apply that to my own project, not just somebody else's project, you know. And a company like Brainstorm's really good because they're this meeting of education and entertainment, and also a long career of watching cartoons. Like I figured I'd like to apply my own attitudes to entertaining, you know, a young audience and put that into practice and see how it all goes.
And that's the really cool part about running it ourselves. I know I kind of complained about it before, but the best part about it is we do get to do all our other skills as well. We're not just performing. We get to write our own stories and our own jokes. And that's probably my favorite part of it.
Yeah, you guys have that full creative control and it's super cool. Has anyone gone rogue at any point and gone, hey, how about a death metal song? And the other two have to sort of rein them in and go, come on, come back to the pack. Come on.
Well, there's always Hectic Skills, which was James reining us in.
Right.
But there's
We
definitely
wrote a great song called Hectic Skills. How do you spell it, Laura? It's specific.
Well, HEKTIK,
the E's are
and then
three.
the E is a 3, and then the S is a $sign, and it's skills with a Z.
This is hectic.
It's hectic.
That is so hectic.
That was probably one of the only times as we said, we are definitely yes and people, and one of the good things about kind of our creative process is that we have developed a really good, wholesome way of being like, that's a great idea, here's how we can make it better, rather than ever like poo-pooing something.
Yeah, great.
And Hectic Skills is probably the only time where James was like, nah.
But I
So
think
it's
we
there.
can do it. Let's bring it back.
It's in the back pocket.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
ready for it. You've talked about it recently. I think you're going to see Hectic Skills on the next album. I really do. I think we can make it work.
I've definitely come in with podcast scripts that are absolutely absurd, and
Oh,
the
do you
girls
remember
have
when you
definitely-
brought up Louis the Jazz Shark?
Yes.
The story and how you pitched Louis the Jazz Shark to us?
I thought it was all pretty self-explanatory, really. It's Louis, the jazz shark.
Yeah.
You know,
And he just
I was just
swims
and they were like,
around.
okay, can you expand on this? I was like, okay, well, you know, he's a shark and he likes jazz, and he just kind of cruises around being a cool jazz shark, listening to jazz music, and you know, with a big smile on his face. And yeah.
Yeah.
And
it
that
was great.
recording of that song really shredded your voice trying to do a Louis Armstrong impression. So
Oh, good.
Yeah.
who's the sucker now?
Turns out it's very hard to do.
So now we don't sing that one live.
I think a great practice to have, as I've been part of some other sort of creative groups in the past, and any ideas that we've had that didn't quite make it, we've added to a list of the ideas that didn't quite make it. And at some point, you need to do a podcast and expand on every single one of those ideas on that list, because that will be great listening.
Yeah, we do have that list actually, because we brainstorm and write it all down, and then we pick out 10 that we like, and then the ones that we don't use just get pushed to the next album. So I think Boats, which just came out last Friday, was on the list in album 2, and now it's only just made it out on album number 5? 4? 5? Yeah.
It was
many.
just written on our list in capital letters, Boats. That's all we had.
Here's an idea. Boats.
And I tell you what the title of the song is. boats in capital letters. So we really,
Yes.
we really want it. We just needed to marinate it for a couple of years, and then it really came out a treat.
That is...
Well, that's the thing is we release podcasts weekly now, and every second week is one of those full-length episodes with an original song. I think there's 65 podcast episodes now total, and they're coming out thick and fast. So we really got to keep those ideas flowing and keep that list going.
That's awesome. Guys, one final question before I let you go. It's been a lot of fun. What are you looking forward to most when, you're able to get out there in whatever way, shape or form and have a live kid-filled audience again? What are you looking forward to the most?
That's a hard question.
Stage
there's so
invaders.
many great parts. Yeah, there's so many great parts about actually performing live. And to be honest, we did a daycare show the other day, and it was really surprising to go back to having the live environment and the children being loud and talking to us again. I was like, what? Oh my goodness, children are making noise. But I forgot how much I love that, and all the kids are like getting into it and being able to see them enjoy the show and dance along and sing along. That's probably the best bit. I love it when kids do that.
I just remembered, maybe you guys remember as well, the Riverside Christmas show that we did.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of kids, especially when they know us quite well through the songs and podcasts, for them to be there. And for that particular Riverside show, there was some kids there being like, Michael, Laura, and like singing all of the words and like, play Sneaky Robber, and I feel like when we do those shows, when there's kids there that do know us quite well and they do get to see us live, that's quite special for them, because we also do meet and greets. And I again, after that Riverside show, I played Ninja for a little while with one of the kids.
Awesome.
Yeah, you did.
Just saying. It was I think that's really quite nice.
Yeah, and it's really special for us too to see that our work is having an impact, because often, and you probably know this too, Joe, but when you put out a podcast, you don't really see people listening and enjoying it. You just kind of put it out there, and then you get a number back of how many downloads, and you're like, oh great, that was a bit higher than last week, awesome. But seeing them enjoy it is really a treat.
How exciting. Well, hopefully you're able to do that more and more as time goes on, and we'll get back to those full houses again. Guys, thank you so much for having a quick yarn to us. WebEx is telling me that my meeting is about to expire, so you could just disappear on me at any moment now. But keep on doing what you're doing and bringing all of the joy and the happiness during this time that can be a little tough for people while they're locked away. But again, Michael, Laura, Mim, thank you so much for having a chat to us.
Thanks,
Thank
Joe,
you so
for
much.
having us.
Bye-bye.